Hello and welcome. Today's topic will be regarding two mails that came to my site, and it was regarding two pilots who wrote to the Spicejet management and of course to the Prime Minister office in India, highlighting their plight and the problems they are facing, and also speaking about this particular airline in India, which is Spicejet, how they are facing the difficulties, what are the traumas they are having. These all things will be discussed today. So before discussing that, let me say a few words about the aviation circle and aviation that happens in India. Now, if you see in India, the aviation is like a sine wave curve. It has its highs, it has its lows. I mean, people or aviation or airlines go through certain highs, and after a certain time you see they come to their lows. Examples, there are plenty examples. If we can see, there was East-West, Damania, you can see Sahara, you can see Air Deccan, you can see Kingfisher, then you can see the latest one, Jet Airways. There are many examples in Indian aviation sector where companies took off very nicely. They experienced their highs and also they came down to the lows or troughs. So basically, when they are climbing, they get all kind of supports from the government to the financing authorities to the influencers. They get all the supports. They reach up to a certain level and after that they come down. There will be some airlines who can be treated as exception, but this is what we have been seeing the trend as. Now, when they come down in the sliding down phase, we see these airlines, most of them, they violate basic rules of operation. They violate the employees' welfare, they violate the contracts they have done with their peripherals, the vendors, they violate many other aspects. The service providers, may it be the airport, may it be some oil companies, may it be the lessors, the numbers are countless. And in each of these peripherals or vendors or service providers, the worst affected or worst treated is the manpower or the humans. What happens in that case? Suppose we'll give one example. One particular vendor was supplying food to an airline, or he was doing catering business, or you're handling the catering of that particular airline. Now, in the sliding phase, when the airline is going down, that particular time, there is no payment released to that particular vendor or peripheral. And who will be the worst affected? The employee who is working for that peripheral, or in this case, this catering agency. Catering agency is not getting money. The promoters of that catering agency, they might be fine with their financial conditions, but who are affected? The employees who are working for that catering agency. So you see there, the peripheral human capital is getting affected. Similar is the capital of the airline. The airline is coming down, or airline is in a bad shape, or airline is financially distressed. So who's getting affected by this? The affected are the human capitals, the trained manpowers, the skilled manpowers who took this airline or carrier on their shoulders for years and years. Today we have such case here. We are talking about Spicejet. We saw last week there are some mails sent to Prime Minister's office which highlighted also the regulatory authorities, some lessors, some vendors. Many people were involved in, many people were sent as copy or two in that particular mail, in those particular mails. We'll see those mails. I have copies of them. We will discuss about that. But here today the discussion why I'm doing is to highlight the human factors in aviation and the peripherals to this aviation. Human factors, which is based on human capital, the trained manpower or the manpower which is behind the tasks or operation of the particular airline or carrier. Now, they are like the wheels of your company. This company will run when these wheels are properly inflated. You try to deflate the wheels or try to decrease the pressure, or due to any such conditions the pressure got decreased, the wheels will not it will not function properly. And if it doesn't function properly, your company is all arrested. It's stopped. There will be issues. The axles might get snapped. Anything can happen. The structure of the company can get even into a condition where it cannot be recovered back. So, if we see these letters which are with me, which are written by one pilot, and another mail was written by Spicejet distress pilot. Now if we see the first mail, which was written by Captain Binod. Now Captain Binod has highlighted his plights and his engagement with this particular airline Spicejet, where he speaks about his continuous engagement with the company. If I can show you this one, this is the mail, but I think you will not be able to see that. Okay, so here he is highlighting his plight, saying, in my mail to PMO, I have asked you to go public on the pay cut taken by you. This particular sentence he has addressed to the promoter of Spicejet, where he is asking, we are taking the pay cuts in this company from last 1.5 years and we are subjected to stress, but he is asking, being a promoter, are you taking that same stress, or are you same financial stress? And he has also asked that Spicejet is questioning my proficiency, my integrity in the work domain. Now, while working, he has shown, and he is claiming also, that there are some appreciation letters and also some NOCs which are pertaining to him, and he is saying, I am fit and I was working fine with Spicejet. So why are my dues not being cleared? That is his question. And he is highlighting that this cannot go on like this. He is also questioning the experience level of certain staffs inside the Spicejet. This is one letter. Now, if we see the second letter, in the second letter, there is this Spicejet distress pilot. The name is not mentioned here, but the heading is Exploitation, Threats and Suicide, a new saga in Indian aviation sector. In this mail, it speaks about the modern day slavery. There are many details in this, like how they have been taking a 70 to 85% of pay cut, whether the standard pay cut in India, in the airlines in India, is around 15 to 30% during this pandemic, or this COVID-19 pandemic. He is highlighting that also, and he highlighted about one of the suicides, suicide of the colleague, his financial distress, he couldn't pay the EMI. He has also warned that the incidents like German wings or this MH370 which happened in 2014, which people believe that these are suicidal crashes which happened. I mean, the cockpit crew led the crashes deliberately. This kind of situation should not happen in Indian aviation. Now, if you see this point, I completely agree with this point, because human factors and human performance, the airline or the aviation fraternity or whoever is handling the aviation operations or the operations of the airline, they must understand these terms. Not only understand, they need to apply them in the day-to-day life and in the greater good of the airline. If they don't do, what can happen? If you see, there is this European Flight Safety Foundation. In European Flight Safety Foundation, they have one project called OGHFA, that is Operator's Guide to Human Factors in Aviation. Now this project, if you see, this says around 85% of the accidents that happen in aviation are due to human errors. Yes, that's true. Human errors are behind this kind of accidents which are fatal many a times. And if you see, out of these fatal crashes, 65% of these crashes or these accidents, they are related to some kind of personal problems, or they are related to the human factors, or they are related to the human performance which have been challenged, or which was never properly taken care of. This happened in companies where they floated the rules that should have been carried on. People take it easy. Companies take it easy. Aviation companies, many of them, they think human factors and human performance, these all courses are just to, there for the training sake. Many of the managers in airlines, many of the higher management posts, or many of the people who can really decide, or on whom the stake of human performance or human factors really depend on, they take it quite lightly. It's okay, you can take it lightly because it's not affecting you. That is what is your belief. But who is responsible to weaken the human capital due to the weak human factors culture in the company? By that, you are not doing a greater good. This is what most of the airlines need to understand. It's not only about Spicejet, it's about any airline that is violating these human factor rules. When we speak, if you see in this mail, it also speaks about how dedicatedly these employees have been working for the particular airline, and they also ask questions that I ask when this exploitation will end. I asked Mr. Ajay Singh, Spicejet promoter, if he has taken the same salary cut in his remuneration, and if he and his family face the same amount of financial stress that he has forced upon thousands of his employees. This is what the question of the pilot. I asked my fellow Indian citizens, Director General of Civil Aviation and the lessors of aircraft in USA and UK to Spicejet, if they would be willing to let the aircraft be operated by Spicejet by its underpaid and mentally distressed crews, risking everyone's lives and assets. Yes, these are the words. I ask our Indian media houses if they would care to report on this unjust exploitation by Spicejet. This is another sentence. Yes. I would like to ask Spicejet, how could an airline stoop down to such low level by trying to tarnish the image of its own captain who has been flying for them for the last 9 years? These are the exact sentences. Now, if you see these sentences, these are complaints. But if you analyze these sentences, which I see and I'm doing it right now, these are the frustration due to the violation of human factors in a particular company. Why should I ask, or why should I compare my salary with somebody's salary? I'm frustrated. There is something happening to me, and my personal stress or my personal level is completely stressed out. This is human factor being breached. I was talking about OGHFA. Now this project, it speaks about many terms, but it highlights some of them. And some of the highlights are like environmental, organizational, or maybe you can say human factors. There are these issues, these highlights are why? Because they have been seeing the accidents, analyzing the accidents over the years, that why this accident happened, what was the cause. And if a particular accident happened, under what circumstances this particular crew or humans were working. So you will see in many cases a maintenance crew or the mechanics or engineers, they have been working and they did something due to continuous night shifts, or they did something due to continued working hours. So this is human factors that should have been taken care at the first place. If you see a cabin crew is distressed, they have been doing continuous flights. So what good can you expect from them to, carrying out a safe flight? We cannot expect. We can only force them, do this and do that. But you don't expect the 100% safety in those conditions, right? I am sure in almost all the companies there is this safety management system where they are giving stress to manage the safety. It is not following safety, it is manage the safety culture in the company. In managing the safety culture, apart from all other factors, this human factors is among the prime. Take one example. One particular pilot has come to work. Now he had a fight in his family because some EMIs could not be paid, or some of his financial obligations could not be completed. He came to work. You do not have a parameter to judge his stress. Okay. You can check whether he has been under alcoholic influence or not. You can check some other parameters which are documented or which are paperwork. But how are you going to measure the stress inside that particular person? This is a difficult decision. This is to be checked by the airline, or the airline should bring certain mechanism where this thing will be avoided. Human stress, what can he do when he is inside the cockpit? German wings and MS-370, which this particular letter quotes. We do not know the exact cause, but they were suicidal. If due to this problem at his home, this particular crew comes to cockpit and he feels like suicidal, what are we going to see? Another German wings or another 370 if they were the cause. So they must wake up. The airlines must wake up and support their own employees who are the assets. These are the employees who have been and who can make your company grow, who can make you climb ladders after ladder. So the promoters must support the staff. Human factors must be respected, and there should be hassle-less, or there should be distressed people in your mechanism, in your company. If not, the safety culture will be breached, which is not good for anybody. Spicejet has his own problems. We are not saying that, they don't have problems. We can understand they have this court case which is ongoing with de Havilland Canadian aircraft. The manufacturing company. They have this fight where they are almost pressing a charge of $43 million. They have won this court case in UK court, and that company it has brought the case to New Delhi, and there also the proceedings are going on. We know that, okay. And last week also there was some kind of case, some kind of court filing by Spicejet, where it said the promoter is not willing to infuse more cash. Though the spokesperson says that no, that's not true. Those filing is not true. The promoter is here to support the airline. But despite all these things, despite all these problems, they have to bring a fine balance between those external troubles plus the internal health of the company and staffs. If that is not done, we never know. Something bad can happen. God forbid something bad that may happen, which will only repent. So we hope the government of India takes acknowledgement of the situation, not only for Spicejet, any other airline. They seem to be violating these human factors rules. Okay, we can understand the situation is bad, pandemic is still continuing, there is less flying, or maybe financial burden is there, okay, but at the same time rationalization is required. How much is your condition, or what is your condition, and how you are acting according to the situation. So that is required. Hope DGCA has already taken some measures about this, and we can request the promoter, Mr. Ajay Singh, to definitely look into this matter. This can be the voice of his thousands of employees. He must come out and help them as their brothers and sisters and distress them, because they are working for his company's greater good, and they will definitely bring success for your company in future if they were given their due in particular time. So this was today's topic about the letters from pilots to the Spicejet management, and also they have drawn the attention of Prime Minister's office in India. Hope the solutions come up nicely, and everybody they come to some kind of negotiation where they keep themselves free of stress and human factors are prevailing all around in aviation. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please come back again.